Hello, and welcome to Reading Repository. Today I will be sharing my summary of the Lotus Sutra. This video focuses on chapters 15 all the way through the conclusion. What is springing up from the earth referring to? Springing up from the earth is a metaphor embodied by the lotus flower. This vibrant and beautiful flower can rise out of the mud of the earth. Even in a tainted world, we too can grow to lead beautiful and pure lives, even with roots in the mud. What is the lifetime of the Tathagata? Remember, Tathagata refers to the Buddha, as well as the Buddha essence or spirit. The Buddha is said to go extinct. However, this is only true in perception. The Buddha, or Tathagata, appears extinct, though they have existed for innumerable eons. This is a use of skillful means to encourage more people to seek awakening. What is the metaphor of the physician? The metaphor of the physician attempts to describe how the Tathagata's appearance of extinction encourages more people to seek awakening and spread seeds of good throughout the world. To summarize, there's a physician, like a doctor, who has many children. He leaves home on business and the children accidentally poison themselves with his medicine. Some children are sick, others have their minds affected. When the doctor returns, he makes a flavorful and fragrant medicine. The sick children take it and quickly recover. The children whose minds were affected don't see the medicine as the solution. The doctor leaves again and sends home a note saying that the doctor has died. The children, whose minds were effective, realize that medicine is still available and decided to take it. They recover and the father returns home with renewed trust from all the children. If the doctor were to stay, they could have tried making different medicines for the children until they believe it's what they want. This is like if the Buddha never went extinct. The children would expect the doctor to make the medicine to fit their desires. And if their minds have been affected, perhaps their desires will never be satisfied. Because the Buddha takes the appearance of extinction, like the doctor, people won't be able to expect a solution to fit to their desires. Like the children, they will have to accept the solution provided, or live with the way things are, potentially ailed by a poison. What are the variety of blessings from understanding the lifetime of the Tathagata? Those who understand the Dharma and the lifespan of the Tathagata, or Buddha essence, will understand innumerable meaning. They will live with assurance that the Buddha and many others are spreading seeds of good. They will understand the innumerable meanings of all things and the value in all things, and may live detached from desire. What are the blessings of responding to the Lotus Sutra with joy? Responding to the sutra with joy will bring happiness. If that person shares it and they respond with joy, and that person shares it, and that happens over and over and over again, the 50th person to respond with joy will receive a far greater happiness than the first. Why? Perhaps the happiness compounds. For each person to be brought happiness, that would make less room for sadness in the world. Therefore, the 50th person will live in a world with more happiness, which came from the former 50 listener. What are the blessings of a Dharma teacher? A Dharma teacher receives many blessings. To teach the Dharma requires skillful means. To effectively use skillful means requires understanding the perspective of who you are teaching. Therefore, to understand things in this world as they are, with their innumerable meanings, Buddha teachers may also live with the feeling that other Buddhas and their disciples will always be protecting them. Who was Never Disrespectful Buddha? Never Disrespectful Buddha spent his whole life selflessly assuring others of their opportunity to become a Buddha. Self-centered people felt like they didn't need his assurance and would curse and beat him. At the end of his life, Never Disrespectful Buddha heard the Lotus Sutra and was granted the powers to teach others the sutra. For eons, those who cursed and beat him were taught the sutra by Never Disrespectful Buddha, and they became closer to becoming Buddhas just like he assured. What are the powers of a Tathagata used for? The Tathagata's powers are used in many ways. A goal of these powers is to dispel the gloom and suffering of all living beings. Who is Medicine King Bodhisattva? Medicine King Bodhisattva in a past life burned himself and was reborn into the house of pure and bright excellence Buddha. He burned his arms for eons as an offering to the Buddha's remains. His arms were returned to him, healthy, and this sutra taught that if your body is given as an offering for the Buddha, then that offering surpasses other offerings like wives, forests, rivers, and ponds, even without offerings. It's said that embracing just one 4-line verse of the Flower Sutra brings so much joy, happiness greater than this won't be found. Who is Wonderful Voice Bodhisattva? The title of this bodhisattva alludes to his voice, which happens to be the consistent tool they used to teach the sutra. What was inconsistent was their form and way of teaching, transforming into anything, gods, humans, or even dragons, and teaching the various vehicles through skillful means to lead others to liberation. What are the incantations? The incantations are mantras or recited chants meant to call upon magical power. Incantations are made by some of the named bodhisattvas, the Medicine King Bodhisattva, as well as 4 billion Buddhas and the King of Heaven Realm Upholder. These chants are meant to protect those who embrace and share the sutra. What is the Sutra of Contemplation? The Sutra of Contemplation asks its listeners to contemplate on their minds. It suggests that thinking about one's mind will expose that there is no real mind or self to be found. Instead, what we find, or what we call the mind, is a series of conceptions that spawned from delusion. Thinking about the mind in this way seems intended to destroy what's thought of as consciousness. As the thought of self is itself empty, neither sin nor virtue is our master. To free oneself from mental suffering inflicted upon oneself over previous actions, it can be helpful to look at the self as empty. Removing the attachment to consciousness and seeing it as empty should help alleviate the hindrances brought from reflecting on past actions. All sins are like frost and dew. The sun of wisdom can dissipate them. These hindrances, often regrets, may come from the feeling that we were led by sin. This does not condone or excuse sin. Rather, it can put the personal, emotional effects of sin in the past and bring focus back to the present so that more seeds of good may be planted today. Are you a combination of all your past selves, or a result of each step of the way? Were you there 4 years ago, or are you a result of that being who existed 4 years ago? Does your memory take you to a moment, or is that sensation just an after effect?